up so I don't slip down that ramp.
Oh, like a good girl. Come on, Gigi. Go out in the snow.
Also, I'm wearing flip-flops and it's cold.
Get the bacon.
Wait, what?
Don't forget the bacon and the sausage. Driving off. When you first get your layers on, it always feels like so uncomfortable. Ugh. My hair is quite staticky because the air has been so dry. I'm going to start off with a little bit of skincare first. Just splashed my face with freezing cold water. Now I'm going in with this golden egg serum from La Earth. I find that if I just rub it on my face, I have a really hard time getting this serum out. So I always put it on my hands first so I can be really aggressive. And then I put it on my face. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's colder outside. So maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. Okay. That feels better. Now I'm going to go in with this whipped tallow balm I've been using for months now, and I really like it. I want to try out some of the Primally Pure. I feel like I see that brand everywhere from influencers, but influencers that I like, so if you've tried it, let me know. We'll do some lip product. I'm gonna do a chapstick that my friend made from Tallow, some peppermint in there, and then I'm gonna do this RMS lip liner, and I'm just gonna do a little bit and then blur it out to give me a little bit of a color. Okay, makeup is done for the day. Okay, wait, one more. I'm gonna do a little bit of blush. Now we're done. I feel like I didn't put on enough, but that's okay. Anyways, today we are going to stay warm. I want to make some drop biscuits. I found a recipe from another creator called, I don't think it's her recipe, but I saw her making them. Her name's Rohini, and they look really good. So I'm going to make those, and I'll share the recipe if they turn out good. And then I think with the biscuits, I want to make some just like fried or scrambled eggs and some bacon on the side. That just sounds easy and delicious. We have some leftover chicken soup that I made a couple days ago. I need to start another loaf of sourdough bread so that we have bread for the weekend. We've been going through so much bread because my son is recently become a little bit more picky, and all he seems to want is bread and butter. So we've been going through a lot of bread. It is warm, and that is the goal. We have on some wool blended socks, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of blush. I'm 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 gonna do a We're set. Okay. I'm going to do some voiceover clips here and there in this video just because of background noise and some of the clips that I got. So after breakfast and getting my toddler dressed, we went into the kitchen to feed my starter. And here I'm just putting a little bit of my discard aside for my chickens. I only ever have a couple tablespoons of discard. That's just how it goes for when I feed my starter. And I also only ever feed it when I make bread, which is roughly once a week, maybe a little bit closer together, maybe a little bit further apart. And I find that the strength stays pretty good. I just added in a couple spoons of the dark rye flour. I got that tip from Hopewell on Heights, who's another YouTuber. She was doing that a while back, and she just had said it was making her starter a bit stronger and giving it like a different nutrient profile, I guess. So I've kind of adapted that ever since, and I feel like it does help. So I do that, and then I add my filtered water in, and I just heat up on the stove. That's why it was in a pot. I try not to use tap water when feeding my starter. I also like to keep it on the thicker side. Sometimes I see people's starter and it's very runny, but I'm just sharing because you can do it a lot of different ways. Anyway, I just did a damp tea towel on top of my weck jar. I keep it in my microwave with the light on underneath, and that just creates like a nice warm environment for it to develop. And then I went to go feed my chickens. Got a pot of water from the, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to use 2 hands. They actually have some water, but waters. Probably will eventually. Don't look at my chicken coop. It's very dirty right now. 1 egg. Thank you. Okay. A cup of peppermint tea might help. I'm quite low on my peppermint. This is the peppermint that I grew. My mints didn't do as well this year as I was hoping. Wait, I'm just gonna put this in my, there it is, strainer. My peppermints didn't do as well as I was hoping this year, or I should say this past year. But that's okay. Better luck this year. Gonna let this steep for a few minutes, and then I'll just take out my little strainer and enjoy my tea. Choo-choo train.
Toto.
Where's the ball?
Oh.
Yeah. We've been having to do extra quilts on the bed with this cold weather. As I mentioned, we have a poorly insulated house. And I just love these quilts that my grandmother made for me. I actually got this for my birthday. I don't even know how old I was, but I was young, and I still love it. It's very much part of my personality. I love pink, don't get me wrong, and purples, but this yellow and blue and green is just very special. And I love it. So we've been adding this on the end of our bed, but we're getting a king size mattress in a couple of weeks. So I'm so excited because it'll be easier to have a little new baby in the bed and my toddler in the bed when he wants to come in and cuddle. I laid down and I think I took probably like a 20-minute nap. I don't know. I haven't been taking naps anymore because I honestly have felt more energetic, but I don't know. Just felt really tired. So I laid down and I literally went like this. I laid on my bed and then I woke up and I'm like, wait a second. I actually did fall asleep. My head's feeling a little bit better. I'm gonna go outside and see if I even have any rosemary. I really wanted to put some fresh rosemary in these biscuits and I didn't get them. My son has been down for a nap for about an hour, so I want to try and get lunch in the oven and going before he wakes up, so that it's just kind of like a task out of the way that I don't have to worry about when he wakes up. And I usually do that. So let's go see if there's any rosemary that has survived the cold weather recently. It's warmed up a little bit, which is disappointing. There we are. My garden is so sad right now. That's okay. Oh, there goes my oregano. That's gonna be dead. I feel like maybe I can salvage this really quick. I don't need much. Once I came back inside, it was time to get started on lunch prep. So I just put some of our pasture-raised bacon in the oven, and then I got started on my biscuits. So when I'm not doing sourdough, I primarily do einkorn flour. This year I want to start experimenting with milling my own flour. Haven't done that yet, but I'm learning about it and trying to decide if it's an investment I'm ready for, because the grain mills are a little bit expensive. But either way, starting with my flour and baking soda. This recipe is very, very simple. I will leave it down in the description box because, spoiler, this turned out so delicious. We all love them. Thankfully, I was able to salvage some of the rosemary before it was completely frozen and dead off. And that also was a great addition to the recipe. I got that idea, as I said, from a YouTuber named Rohini. I believe it was one of her older vlogs. It was just kind of like a comfort creator for me. So I was just watching her homemaking videos and saw that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I must do that on the snow day. So got that going. If you haven't made biscuits before and you want to give it a go, I would recommend doing something like a drop biscuit, because there's no kneading or cutting or anything like that. It's just very, very easy to do. And especially with this recipe, you can kind of customize it and you don't have to have any special tools. A lot of the time when I make biscuits, I will have the layered ones, and it's just a little bit more involved. Whereas this, you could use a biscuit cutter to like blend your butter and your flour together. But as you can see here, I'm just using my hands. The reason you typically don't want to do that is because you wouldn't want to melt your butter. You want your butter to stay very cold and crumbly. But I just wasn't too concerned about it. So after blending all of that up, the last step is to just add in your milk. So I did that and stirred it together with a wooden spoon, making sure not to over mix it because that can definitely cause a denser biscuit. And then I decided to make these in my cast iron, which I think just made them even better, but they would taste fine on any sort of pan. And I just buttered the bottom to make sure that I didn't have any sticking. Again, you could kind of use oil, but I just think everything's better with butter. One thing I do not recommend doing is that here I thought it would be less messy if I used this scooper. That's like for cookies or muffins. It's like a large scooper, but I don't know what was going on. It was so hard to use this because of the texture of the biscuits. And in the end, I had to have my hands all over the dough, and I completely regretted even pulling it out in the first place because it just made another dirty dish. So next time I will just truly make it a drop biscuit and use a spoon, or my hands for that matter, because it was ended up that way anyway. Pop these in the oven, and then I started to chop up some fruit. I actually have a recipe video coming up about making a olive oil orange cake. If you didn't know, oranges are in season in the winter, so I always have a ton of citrus in the fridge this time of year, and it just makes for such a bright little happy snack when you're feeling kind of low. Also, even when you're peeling or cutting the oranges, you get all the essential oil smells, and it's just a naturally happy fruit. I love a good orange. And here I'm doing the daily task of wiping down my toddler's tray because it just is incredible how grimy that thing gets after just one meal. Perks of being the one who cooks the food: you always get to try it first, and you need that extra fuel because you're on your feet cooking. So make an extra piece of bacon for yourself. Next, it was time to get my son up for his nap. We keep his sound machine on the outside of his door. Does anyone else do that? I just have heard that it actually helps muffle the sound better, and it's safer for their ears. We never turn it up that loud anyway. But here are the biscuits. Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. They were so crispy and fluffy. It was the best. And then I decided to make some eggs with some chopped herbs and spinach, and got that going on my favorite new pan. I've had it for a few months now. I probably should do a video about my favorite cookware because I am officially completely non-toxic in the kitchen. I kind of was before, but I'm like fully there now. I don't have no plastic. I'll talk about that another day. So here was our little lunch spread. I had some peppermint tea. My husband had another cup of coffee, and it was time to go outside for a little afternoon walk. I tried to get us outside every day, which is obviously going to happen because I have to take care of the animals and whatnot, but especially just having some free time where we're not doing a chore, we're just having time to meander around, not feeling rushed. And every time that we do this, I just feel so grateful that we are able to live here and have such a beautiful piece of property to explore. It's just been one of the biggest blessings, and even more so now that we have our son to experience it through him. I just can't really ever imagine not having space to explore and use your imagination and just have all these adventures. And I just wish it for everyone who wants this sort of lifestyle. After that, typically when we go outside for a bit, he will come indoors and independently play pretty well. I've been back into knitting after not doing it for, I don't know, almost 20 years. That shares my age at all. I haven't done it since I was a kid, and I've really been enjoying it. All right, it's time to look at the sourdough starter, and I probably should have re-wet this towel because it's a bit dry. Dinner are these leftover chicken and rice soup, and I also have some sourdough bread in the toaster going. And my son probably won't be eating so much soup, so I made him another I can't think, another egg and rosemary biscuit. Good morning. Bread overproofed, so I'm gonna make focaccia. So here I just decided to use some olive oil and grease down my square pan. I love these cooking pans. They're from Pans USA. They're really great, and I pretty much just plop it down in there. Now, this focaccia bread, just a forewarning, I've made focaccia in the past with yeast or even like intentionally with sourdough, and it definitely turns out a little bit more bubbly. But I think given the fact that I was going to have to do something else with this bread and this was so easy, I definitely recommend it. It doesn't look like it got the best bubbles, but I probably should have showed another clip once I got into the center of the loaf because there were more airy pockets. But you can see here in a second, I just cut off like the very end to show you that. But either way, it was still really good. It had a lot of flavor on it because I used all of our homegrown dried herbs and some beautiful herb salts, and I even put everything bagel seasoning on it just to, see what that would taste like. And I really recommend it. If you ever have a loaf that you forget about, you just don't toss it away. You can make a beautiful loaf of focaccia bread, and I need to do this again. But, maybe not forgetting about the sourdough, but actually making intentional focaccia bread. My toddler was absolutely loving dipping it in olive oil. The red sauce wasn't a big of a fan, but some olive oil with some garlic salt in there, he really liked that. So either way, I'm going to end the video here with these cute little baby hands, and I will see you in next week's video. Thanks for hanging out with me today on this snowy day, and I'll see you next time.